I'm sure it'll make sense. Don't worry. This is something you can comment on.
Okay, so let's get started. We're here to debrief the Fitzgerald's lesson. Our norms to stay on time and be cordial. And we're going to start with 5 minutes we're going to set the context of the lesson, including the age of the students, time it took place, any unusual events, and what the lesson's all about, and relating it to our course of study.
Okay, well, this is my period 7. It was the last period of the day. The class started at 1 o'clock, ended at 1:45, 1:48. This is my largest class, 28 students total. No, 29, sorry, 29 students. 2 students are on ed plans, and I have another student who comes from a special class, and she comes with a one-on-one. She was not present for recording purposes. We were wrapping our chemistry unit. I thought it was important that to review chemical and physical changes. Basically, they took a post-test, and a lot of the kids still had difficulty with the difference between chemical and physical changes. No matter how much review we could do, I felt that they needed a little bit more brushing up. So we had just finished. We were just discussing phases of matter. So I thought it was a good opportunity to stick in chemical and physical changes, since phase change is physical change. And I thought it would be beneficial to review the CER, since I did a CER in October, but I wanted to do it in more of a fun format. So they can review the concepts, and they can do something that's a little more fun for them. Not so serious, so I can see whether or not they understand the concepts and they understand the format, and then we can move along and review. My students are 12 and 13 years old, and it was a typical day. I shot the video over 3 days. So the last day was St. Patrick's Day. That's why they were wearing green and crazy things on their heads and everything. So that was why they had green on. And it's in my course of study because we're doing argumentation, and the CER falls right in line with argument.
I forgot I was facilitating. Next, I need you to take 1 minute, please, Lynn, to restate the questions from your pre-observation form.
Okay. The questions I wanted the observers to focus on: do they understand the steps of CER? Since I did very little to review them from October, I kind of just jumped right in. How did the students work as cooperative groups, especially with arguments, doing argumentation? And were they engaged, or did I lose them at all? Going back to that whole CER fatigue that I think kids get.
Okay. Skipping over the Form 3 part, we're going to take 10 to 15 minutes for warm and cool feedback. For everybody, Lynn, at this point, you listen and take notes while the rest of us share our feedback. Would like to begin?
I can start. So I liked how you gave the kids in that beginning, when they were watching the videos, some time to have individual time to answer the question, and then do the think, pair, share, and then I asked for kids to respond, out loud to the whole group. I liked that process. That was nice. I always think it's important for kids to have time to individually think, and then bounce their ideas. So that's that process. It was also part of my third one.
I like the creative and fun approach that you took to the topic, which could be pretty, kind of straightforward, with the the best idea and the superhero idea. I think that really hooked the kids' interest, and they would definitely engage.
I thought that your lessons were really well organized with your sticky notes that you had them put on the wall showed really good forethought. Your buddy list that you had students meet up with showed that students are really used to working in groups. scaffold sheets to give them directions, or template sheets to scaffold and give them direction on what they should do. So it was just a really well organized process.
I like the way, when you showed the two videos, you picked a favorite teacher in the school for the ice drop challenge, and for the Wicked Witch, it was an engaging video piece even for people who hadn't seen it. But you took it to the one step further, and you explored with them that there were multiple ways you could describe what happened to her. And you left the idea that there wasn't going to be one right answer, that different ways of approaching it.
I loved how you stopped yourself. There was that point where you, during a group share, that you started to almost give an answer, and you kind of stopped yourself and rephrased it, and it was great, because it was kind of like you could see that I don't want to close their thinking. I want to make sure that I'm keeping everything open, and you caught it and rephrased it. And then further, just to keep going with that, you acknowledged a student had made a comment about something that you had never thought of. And I loved how you pointed out, like, I didn't even think about it that way. Like, you thought about the broom and the fire, and I was thinking about the water, not that. And so I loved how you added value. Like, oh my gosh, this is completely, I didn't even think about it, but yes, you're right, that is a chemical change. Great job, you know. So it really, I think it probably felt good for him too to kind of, oh my gosh, I came up with an idea that the teacher didn't think of. So it was good.
I love the rubric. That was a great idea to help the students assess what they were, where they were, and then make changes and see what's expected of them. I often don't always give out rubrics, or I talk about them, and that's something I need to work on. So I thought that was a great idea.
I liked how in setting it up, you told them that argument doesn't have to be negative, but it's a good thing. It helps us learn, and you compared it to a lawyer, which is, I think, something that, like, you know, many middle school students want to become lawyers. So I thought just explaining argument is good was a nice way to frame the lesson.
I like that the whole concept of the superheroes. Kids are into superheroes. It was very engaging, and the worksheets that went along with it, they were very detailed and just really encouraged participation.
Along the same lines as what Jen said, I like how you pointed out that point of view and opinion can vary and both be correct. I think that's really important for the students to know, that everybody doesn't have to have the right answer. They can vary a little bit and still be correct. So.
I liked how at the end the students were sort of summarizing their final ideas and supporting their arguments too. And you kind of come up with a final nice summary argument, like you built it up and scaffolded it, and the final product was great. A lot of work put into that. That was really, I liked how it went from step to step, and the kids could build on it and get a really nice end product.
I thought it was good how you gave some examples of physical changes to help students along when they got stuck. So like at one point you said, well, if you had a sandwich and you wanted to share it with somebody, what would you do? Like to get them to figure out that they could cut the rope that was holding them. So you didn't like tell them you can cut it, but you like helped them think of it in another way to help them get there without giving them the answer directly.
We watched the kids develop through this lesson over 3 days, and I have to say, for a 3-day lesson, I found them to be engaged on each of the 3 days. You know, they enjoyed doing this. They were definitely getting something out of it. You could see that they were discussing things, and I thought it all came together nicely.
Yeah, one of the things that I loved how you taped when you were holding the tape and going up to the groups, and you can really hear their conversation, and I thought you did a great job prompting them with just the right questions and just the right information just to kind of get them to think deeper and to maybe explore their conversation a little bit more, and I thought you really got the best out of them. One of the things.
I like how you praised the different approaches. We mentioned that already. Different approaches approaches to examining the problems. And also, how you also, the students also like utilize their notes from the previous day as a reference for the next step. So it kind of carried over and had a nice flow to it. And the students could understand the importance of, using references, even their own notes as a reference.
It seemed like the CER sheet was really organized and the kids seemed to be familiar with it and know what they were doing. So it shows that they did remember what you taught them back in October and were able to kind of jump right back in where they left off.
I like that you provided the scaffolding for them to help them with various physical and chemical changes that they might be encountering in their scenarios. Is there any?
Oh, I'm
Yes,
sorry,
something
yeah,
else to add?
I do, well, I liked the group pairing during the argument part, I thought that was, that 2-on-2, I know there was one group that might have been one or smaller, but I thought that, it really provided an opportunity for everyone to have a voice, that was good.
I wrote down too that the classroom organization really promoted small group work, so the kids worked really well cooperatively, but then they could also move so they could have like a focus on what you were saying to them, so I like that. The transitions were smooth.
Does anyone have any more feedback to add?
Somebody mentioned this, and I think, but at the end, I liked the fact that you had them ask, if their opinion changed as a result from the argument, that group share out area, that was good.
Okay, let's move on to pool feedback.
I was wondering, so there was one part in the beginning of that video where that girl was really confused about what it had to do with the ice bucket challenge, and I was wondering if you ever addressed that or how you went back to if you ever quietly addressed that with her. It's more of a question. I don't know, but I was just curious. It was interesting. You know, you kind of just work we'll work individually right now. So I was wondering if that ever came up again. I don't know if that's cool feedback or a question, I'm sorry.
It sounded to me like your feedback that you were receiving from the students, when you got their feedback, you seemed concerned about their understanding of the reasoning part of it, that they may be struggling more with it. Not sure what could be incorporated in that, but maybe an example of what you were looking for. And I can ask you about that later, but it just seemed like you felt, and I may be wrong, but maybe you felt like they were struggling, they got the claims, the evidence, but the reasoning piece was more difficult for them. So maybe some kind of template, sentence stem, something to help them.
Just something really minor, logistical. On the third day, I think it was, like you were telling people who they were gonna go with, and then as soon as you told them, they started going. And it was hard for me to kind of hear, and I was wondering if it was hard for the students too, to hear like directions after that, because people started moving as you were still talking and giving directions. So maybe give all the directions first, and then have everyone move.
I have a question on the list of physical and chemical changes, and I didn't get a handle on it from watching the video, but I guess it's more of a question. Did the students use the reference sheet as much as you had hoped? because there seem to be students who, were saying physical and then giving a chemical example, or saying chemical and giving a physical example, and I had to wonder if they were just talking from what they think they had learned, or were they actually confirming their information. I know that's something that I struggle with, is getting the kids to use the reference materials to their own benefit, and I didn't know, I wanted to know your thoughts on that. I guess it's more of a question for later though.
I was wondering if you gave them an example, so you introduced the superheroes, and if you actually gave them an example as a whole class of a scenario, and did that all together first, and then kind of broke out, how that would have even made their conversations greater, like more clarity and just.
Do you have any other cool feedback? Okay. Next, we have 5 minutes to ask clarifying questions about the lesson, and Lynn, at this time, you may respond, and we have 5 minutes to do this.
Okay. Want me to answer your first
Yes,
question?
yeah.
I can't remember who the girl was. Do you remember what question she asked?
She was focused on, like, I don't get it. Like, it was about I think she was confused of how the ice bucket challenge was a physical change. Like, I'm not sure I feel like there was some confusion of what they were supposed to be looking at in those 2 videos. There seems to be, in that one particularly, I think with the chemical one they could see, but that's what I was wondering if there was.
I actually didn't do any follow through, but I remember exactly what it was now that you're quoting her. I did that actually just to see if they were able to remember it. And I think I just took it for granted that she would remember it. She's one of those students that asks questions all the time. So I think I said I'll talk to you about it later, and I did not. Probably did not remember.
Okay.
Or if I did, I did it later.
Yeah.
But she's also later in the video, like, talking to me too. So she's one who likes the spotlight a little bit. So I would say I probably didn't. And I never really talked about physical changes being like someone throwing water on themselves. I never actually used that as an example. So looking at it from, thinking of that girl, I probably would have to explain a little bit. If I was to do this again, I'd have to explain it a little bit.
Did you do this before or after you melted the ice?
This was after. Well, and a lot of students did tell me.
It was a water response, right?
Yeah. A lot of students did tell me the ice was a physical change, and I said, okay, that was right too. But I was also thinking Mr. Sandberg, like it could have been either or. And I think a lot of the kids got thrown off because they're like, oh my gosh, Mr. Sandberg is right there. The ice bucket challenge, and where is he? And he has a tattoo, and he's wearing shorts, and and I did that to pull them in. So I think it might have been a distraction in some ways too.
That was good enough. That was good enough.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No, he was very excited that I asked him. Yeah.
Did you feel about the reasoning part? Did you feel that's where the kids were? I feel that's what happens with my kids. So I was just wondering. If you
I had to
felt the
keep
same way.
explaining to them.
Yeah.
Yes, I found that was difficult. What do I write for reasoning? You just tell me how it's a physical or how it's a chemical change. I had to go to Maureen's question. Yes, they did not use the references enough, and the reference sheet definitely needs to be redone because I wasn't happy with it. Like I did not look in the reference. I just assumed that they would be able to think about it, and with all the review we've done and with the materials I provided, that they would be fine figuring out an answer. Looking on it now, on that reference sheet, I should probably write in like cutting. I don't think I had cutting.
As an example.
Right, as an example. So I
okay.
think I need to tailor make the reference sheet. It was kind of just a reference sheet I had. I was like, okay,
For
let
the
me find.
specific scenario.
I need to tailor it for the specific scenario, and also I completely agree about providing a scenario, but I only had a few scenarios, and I could not I did not have like creatively like the brain power
Mhm.
to think of a scenario, and I didn't want to lose the ones that I had.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No,
So yeah, I totally agree.